90% of the tourists, when they are visiting Odisha, they are visiting the destinations comprising of Golden Triangle of Odisha. We call it as Puri, Konark and Bhubaneswar.
In Puri specifically, more than half of the hotels are run as well as owned by people who are not Odia, like mostly Bengali people.
Koraput, Kandhamal, Fulbani, the tribal district where ecotourism potentials are very high. So if people are moving on a mass basis, that place will lose its value. So we have to maintain the carrying capacity of the destination. Odisha is famous for its handicrafts, food, fairs and festivals. We are having fairs and festivals. Maximum number of tourists visiting to Puri is Bengalis.
Why do we see such a gap in the rise in footfall but the less amount of revenue generated in the year 2024 in the state of Odisha in tourism? Like with every year we expect, with the increasing amount of years, we expect the revenue will also be increasing, but in 2024 we saw something different. There were rise in the tourists in our state, but the revenue was not aligning, it was less. So why is that?
First of all, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share my expertise in your the questions which you have asked. To start with, in economics, there is a concept we call it as law of diminishing return. Like here, the same thing is applicable here over here. No doubt, the number of tourist arrival to Odisha has increased up to, if you go for the statistics, it's almost 13%. But still, when we are talking about the revenue generation, it's declining because of not one or any single factor. There are several factors which are responsible for that. One of such factor which is very important is that is too much importance of giving to domestic tourists, especially the budget category tourist. In tourism term, we call them as budget tourists. So far as the budget tourists are concerned, they are no doubt they are moving on a mass basis. But so far as their expenditure pattern is concerned, if you go or if you think of their expenditure on transportation, accommodation, sightseeing, fooding, including shopping, it's very less in comparison to quality tourists. When we are talking about quality tourists, it is very less. That is the major reason why Odisha, even if the number of tourist flow to Odisha increased, but the revenue generation it's not increased up to that level. The second most important reason, why it is the revenue generation is bit less. If you think of that, 90% of the tourists when they are visiting Odisha, they are visiting the destinations comprising of Golden Triangle of Odisha. We call it as Puri, Konark and Bhubaneswar. That is the reason we are concentrating in only one place. That is the reason, another reason why that, because once the tourists are coming, they know, the budget tourists, they know where they can get cheaper food, cheaper accommodation, cheaper transportation facility. So that is the reason which I can say that yes, the revenue generation is not up to our expectation.
Sir, is it true that in Puri specifically, more than half of the hotels are run as well as owned by people who are not Odia, like mostly Bengali people? Is it true?
To great extent, why I can tell you, because if you say the statistical data provided by government of Odisha in statistical bulletin, you will find that maximum number of tourists visiting to Puri is Bengalis, that is people from West Bengal.
Yes.
So what the people from Bengal, what they are doing, the entrepreneurs from Bengal, what they are doing to get to earn more profit, they are taking the hotels on lease basis. No doubt, if you'll see or if you'll examine the hotel price in the room rents in Puri has substantially increased. But now the question is, why not the revenue is increasing? Because it is, you can call it as the money is drained from our state to other state. Because what the people of Bengal, what the entrepreneurs they are doing, they are taking the hotels on lease. They are earning a huge amount of profit. by providing accommodation, because Puri is such a place, like you can, there is an year-around travel so far as Puri is concerned. So in that way, the entrepreneurs now they are targeting the hotels in Puri, and they are selling it on a higher price. But the benefit, the actual benefit, or the profits, it should be confined to our state for the development, but it has been shifting to another state. So this is another reason why this is the scenario which has been now coming up in a bigger way. People, or the hotels, mostly the hotels now owned by the Bengali entrepreneurs.
So this is actually a very unfair advantage that they are getting. Like, given West Bengal should not be getting our share of revenue, that too more than half of it. So why isn't our state doing anything to regulate this, and how our state can attract more quality tourists, as we spoke earlier?
See, when you are talking about tourism, is a complicated and multi-sectoral activity. We cannot blame anybody why or how this is happening. But yes, our entrepreneurs from our state, they should more focused on getting hotel business, and they should, if they should confine their property to themselves and charging a substantial amount of money, even if they can earn more profit also, because if the persons from other states they are earning, why not we? So it's not a blame game rather. But now the question is how to increase the quality tourist to our state. That means the focus of marketing strategy, focus of government of Odisha, including the other state stakeholders like Hotel and Restaurant Association of Odisha, then Travel Agents Association of Odisha. There are adventure tourism associations. Some of them are there operating in Odisha. So they should come forward, and they should change their focus from Golden Triangle to some of the unexplored destinations of our state, especially to the district comprising of Koraput, Kandhamal, Fulbani, the tribal district, where ecotourism potentials are very high. Even some of the adventure tourism can also be undertaken in those areas. Apart from that, we know Odisha is one of the very few states in India which can provide something to each and every kind of tourist. So Odisha should promote wildlife tourism in a bigger way. There are so many wildlife tourism destinations are there, which is having a tremendous potential to attract the tourist, not only the domestic tourist but also international tourist. Say for example, we are having some ecotourism destinations, some of the wildlife tourism destinations like Satkosia, Bhitarkanika, and specifically Bhitarkanika. It is having the tremendous potential of providing maximum satisfaction, especially to adventure lovers, wildlife adventure lovers. Those who can go there, they will take the real breath of adventure, wildlife adventure in Bhitarkanika. So the government as well as the other stakeholders should shift their focus from traditional destinations to these unexplored destinations, because these destinations will be traveled by those tourists where the spending pattern is comparatively more in comparison to the tourists those who are traveling to Puri, Konark and Bhubaneswar. So the focus should be shifting to there, so that our state can not only attract more tourists but also attract quality tourists, and especially foreign tourists.
So actually, I really like your point of the adventure sports thing. I think Odisha somewhere or the other it lacks kind of in that area. We do have many water sports because obviously we are a coastal state, but adventure sports is something that we can really look upon, and that would actually attract a lot of new quality tourists here. But from this only, I want to ask my final question is that earlier we were speaking about the country Bhutan. Despite it being a very small country, it manages to have quality tourists because it sort of limits on what kind of people are entering their country, what kind of tourists are entering their country. So what can Odisha learn from this? Should we start having a cap in what kind of tourists are entering our state or something like that?
It's a very good question. Like when we are talking about the tourism potential of Bhutan, it's only nature, which they are selling it to the tourist. Because Bhutan is really a ecologically sensitive area. The whole of economy is based on tourism. So what Bhutan is doing, in spite of attracting more and more number of tourists, they are promoting tourism, that to quality tourism. If you will go on a mass, they will not encourage you. Rather, if you will go individually, or we call them as alternative tourists, they will definitely attract you. They are telling that you come, enjoy our resources, but it should be there on a sustainable manner. So because we are talking about sustainable tourism development, when we are talking sustainable tourism development is telling that travel to enjoy this biodiversity, keeping in mind of the future conservation, preservation as well as ecological perspective. So far as Bhutan is concerned, I'm giving a small example. If you'll go there by your own car, you have to pay a huge amount of money as tax, because they tell that if you are coming with your vehicle, you will be polluting our surrounding. Will not allow them to come over here. Yes, if you want to come, but you have to pay a hefty amount of money, which you cannot think of even. Maybe 30 to 40,000 more money you have to pay as tax to enter into your vehicle, to enter into their state, because they want, they are telling that we believe in quality, not in quantity. Let the less number of tourists come, but we should earn in a good amount, and we should conserve and preserve our ecology and environment for the future use. Now the question is, applying to Odisha is concerned, no doubt, what we have mentioned earlier, like so far as these unexplored destinations are concerned, these are ecologically sensitive. Like take the case of Daringbadi, we called it as Kashmir of Odisha. So if people are moving on a mass basis, that place will lose its value. So we have to maintain the carrying capacity of the destination. Carrying capacity means the maximum tolerance level of a destination, without which you will degrade its value of the destination. So we will not only promote these ecologically sensitive areas, say for example Satkosia, Tikarpada, then you are having Daringbadi, Bhitarkanika, all these are ecologically sensitive area. So when you are promoting, or when we are promoting this destination, we should think about the carrying capacity of the destination, and accordingly we should promote them, so that let the tourist come, but it should be quality tourist. Like take the case of foreign tourist arrival, Odisha, if you go for the statistics, out of 100%, only 0.42% of the foreign tourists are coming to our state. So if we target more on attracting the foreign tourists, or particularly the tourists coming from the wealthier family, where they can give like spend more on accommodation, fooding, shopping, and all these things, because Odisha is famous for its handicrafts, food, every fairs and festivals. We are having fairs and festivals. So we should, our priority should be attract the tourists, those who can spend more, quality tourists, those who are having the aware of conserving and preserving the element. Side by side, we should also attract the foreign tourists, because we are having a very traditional setup of attracting tourists from Japan, particularly Southeast Asian country, and to some extent very few European countries like UK and Greece or like that. But now the focus should be shifted to some other destinations by marketing it properly. So if these things we can take care of, Odisha definitely can be a perfect tourist destination for all. And side by side, the cause of concern for which we are here, that is the revenue generation is decreasing, that can be improved a quite lot, which is good for our Odisha's economy as such.
You mentioned about exploring unexplored places in Odisha. What I want to understand from you is, after a point, are we not over commercializing tourism? Are we not interfering with nature too much? Is it not hampering the authenticity of a place?
See, if you are talking about this stuff, let me clear your view. When we are talking about tourism promotion, tourism in India in general and Odisha in particular, it's still in infancy stage. Talking about France, it's a small country. Area-wise, it is more or less equal to Madhya Pradesh. But France receives 80 million tourists. But India is such a big country but it receives only 10.6 million tourists. So the concept of carrying capacity, or when we talk about over tourism, it's still not there. When we talk about unexplored places, means people are not aware till date that yes, Daringbadi is a place which can be, or which can be a perfect destination for like people those who are seeking for weather or climate, or like the Kashmir of Odisha. So when we are talking about these kind of things, Odisha has not its only apart from Puri, Konark and Bhubaneswar, that too in a particular season, carrying capacity of most of the destinations, like it's still in inconsistency. We have to attract the tourist, let the tourist starts flowing, then the government should come up with a regulation that yes, we should stop. Like take the case of, I'm giving an example, when we are talking about from Gangotri to Gomukh, there was a time, a huge number of tourists, they were traveling. The distance from Gangotri to Gomukh was almost 19 kilometers. But because of huge flow of tourists, that glaciers has been again going back by another 3 to 4 kilometers because of this tourist flow. So what the government of Uttarakhand is doing, that they are fixing the limit in a particular day, maximum number of this is the number of tourists they can go to the destination. Like only the carrying capacity in India, very few states they have reached. Like take the case of Goa. Goa has, to some extent, if you go to some of the popular beaches,
Kedarnath,
they have lost their
Kedarnath
carrying
also
capacity.
carrying capacity there.
Yes, Kedarnath. That is the reason these hazards they are coming, because you cannot play with the nature. Tourism is a very sensitive issue. You have to have a balance between the nature as well as the tourist activity. Once you cross that nature, nature will show its what you can say face that yes, this can be happen. So my point is, let the state attract more tourists, because we are still in a very so far as the top 10. Like I'm giving another example, UP. 2 3 years back, UP was nowhere in the picture so far as tourist arrival is concerned. But because of one or two religious development, which now UP has moving ahead of all the states. So Odisha has to do something like that. Maybe in terms of we are having Nava Kaleva, you have to market in a particular event so that people from all over the world should know the uniqueness of the destination or the uniqueness of the event. In that way, we can attract more tourists. And after that, yes, we have to think about the carrying capacity of the destination.
So thank you so much for answering all our questions. It definitely helped our confusion that despite of being such a big footfall in 2024 in Odisha, there was a shortage in revenue. And also thank you for giving us all the brownie points that you said about carrying capacity and how to include more diverse sporting activities into the state to flourish the tourism culture here. And thank you so much, sir. And it was a
Thank you.
pleasure having you on OTV Next.
Same here. Thank you.
Thank you.